All right, this is a perfect segue because I want to play devil's advocate here and sort of channel some of the counter arguments that I'm sure you've heard that I've heard. A few recent studies illustrated deep seated racism in this country. One was around COVID-19, where it was shown that the more the media covered racial disparities around COVID-19, the less concerned or supportive white people became about protective measures. There was also a recent study on the racial politics surrounding welfare in the United States. To sum up their conclusions, the authors write that, quote, racial animosity in the US makes redistribution to the poor, who are disproportionately Black, unappealing to many voters. Looking at these two examples, if we are outcome driven, then would it make more sense to minimize or at least not increase the salience of race in order to get the best results for people of color? Devil's advocate question.
I think that's an incredibly important question. And let me give an example. About a decade ago, there became an awareness that there were too many children, even in preschool, who were being suspended and expelled. And so they became an effort, particularly led by the Obama administration, to to stop using that punitive measure, when children are acting out. And and so it actually led to a pretty significant decline in the number of children, preschoolers, who are being suspended and expelled. But you know what actually didn't happen? There wasn't a significant closing in the disparities of between Black and white, even preschool girls who were being suspended, because there was no focus on that. The focus was only on suspension rates in general. And so I think this is the challenge, because on the one hand, if we do not talk about racial disparities and put in place specific policies and practices that can eliminate them, if not reduce them, then they're not going to do it on their own. But then if we talk about racial disparities, it's going to cause a certain segment of Americans to be uninterested in those policy reforms we want to put forth. And I think this is part of the reason why we're still facing this issue, of racism in this